guys, welcome back to our video, and today's going to be another deck guide for you guys. Last episode we did Battle Wasps, and in this episode we're going to be doing Reptilianne. Reptilianne are a pretty interesting reptile archetype that pretty much focuses on getting your opponent's monsters to 0 attack, and then plussing from there. And yeah, they're just a pretty interesting pet project for anyone who decides to play them for a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be our deck guide for today. If you guys don't know what our my deck guides are, pretty much what they are like for beginners to a certain deck. So basically, like if you are new to a certain deck or just get into one, this is just videos for you, pretty much. Like I'm going over staples to put in the deck, text you can slide in if you want, and also engines that can fit really nicely with the deck. And then also I'll throw in extra deck options for you all as well. And then at the very end of the video, I'll show a kind of like a beginner's deck list for you all to start out with. So. But yeah, let's get on to the video then. So, the overall strategy for this deck is kind of like a stunny kind of deck. It's pretty much the whole gimmick is making your opponent's attacking monsters 0, and just plussing from there, like from stealing them off of a Viper, or like just like tripping them off with their boss monster, which is pretty funny. So, and that's also a synchro strategy as well. So it has a synchro monster and a few tuners, 2 of them at least, and yeah, it's overall pretty interesting stun deck, to be honest. So, let's get on to the staples, though. So the first staple is the Reptilianne Hydraling, or the newly named Reptilianne Lamia. This is their new card coming out of Rising Rampage. Pretty much with this, it's a really good new tuner for the deck. So basically with her, she can, you can only use 1 effect per turn and only once per turn. So her first effect, you can target a face-up monster on the field, reduce that monster's attack to 0, special summon her, but you take damage. Also require a reptile monster to use her first effect, so you control a reptile monster in order to activate her first effect to even special summon herself out, which is kind of annoying, but it's pretty easy, honestly, because this whole deck is reptile. And then her second effect, if she's used as synchro material instead of the graveyard, she can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, make their attack 0. So she's really good for this deck in general, because she's a new way of making attacking monsters 0, or just monsters in general 0 attack. So that's nice. She pretty much does what the deck wants to do, and it's just a brand new tuner for the deck. They only had 1 tuner before her, and honestly, she's a way better tuner than the one we have, and just honestly, like, makes the deck and what it wants to do, like, make it more consistent out trying to get their opponent's monsters 0 attack. So overall, great card. It does suck that you can only activate 1 effect per turn and only once per turn, but regardless, it's better than nothing, honestly. And she's honestly the best new card they've ever gotten up to this point. So obviously, run 3 of her. Then on to the next tuner, Reptilianne Viper. Viper is their older tuner. It was the only tuner before Hydraling. But with him, you can pretty much target a face-up monster your opponent controls with 0 attack, take control of it. So it's kind of like a mind control in the way. You can use it quickly. You can use it in tandem with Hydraling. So let's say you had a reptile monster in the field. Use Reptilianne Hydraling's effect, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, make it 0, special summon herself. Then you can noble summon the Viper. Then take control of that monster you just made 0 attack. And then kind of maybe if you want, just synchro it off into synchro them both off into just a regular synchro from that point. So it's honestly it's made better now with Hydraling in tandem. So it's kind of like a 2 to 3 of, honestly, whatever your preference is with him. But overall, he's a well-needed tuner for the deck as well, because he can just take your opponent's monsters. So overall, not that bad of a tuner. Now on to non-tuner monsters now. There's only 2 tuners for this deck, and those are them. So the next monster is Reptilianne Naga. Naga is a level 1. She can destroy a battle, and also if she battles the opponent's monster, you pretty much at the end of the battle phase, that opponent's monster becomes 0. And at the end phase, if she is in defense position, she goes to attack position. So obviously, your opponent in their right mind will not attack into this. Mostly you're going to get that effect off. He's going to be if you set her face down and your opponent runs into her somehow, or if you just attack her into something. So more often than not, it's going to be the attack it into something thing, because if you set a monster in pass nowadays, it's kind of suicide. But regardless, she's a 3-up nonetheless, because she does help get opponent's monsters, or monsters in general, to 0 attack. And she's a level 1, so she can go into Link Karibo, and yeah, that's honestly not that bad. So Next is Reptilianne Gardna. Gardna is the level 4 Reptilianne, and he's the searcher of the deck. So when he's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you pretty much add a Reptilianne monster from deck to hand. So pretty simple. 3 of them nonetheless. He's a searcher, yeah, just honestly, always gonna run 3 of this. And then is gonna be Reptilianne Scylla. Scylla is the level 4, another level 4 for the deck. So basically with him, when she destroys a monster with 0 attack, she can pretty much special summon it to your side of the field in defense position, I believe, and then its effects are negated. So it's kind of like a Goyle Garden for the deck, and for the most part is not that bad. It is like, so you can work well with this with Hydraling again. So let's say you normal summon this, Hydraling, target to face a monster from controls, special summon herself, then battle phase, swing over that 0 attack a monster, then take it, and then use Hydraling, and use Hydraling to synchro it off, so, or like it off, or whatever you want to do. So obviously it's kind of like a 3-2 of, mostly a 3 of though, because you kind of want to max out on it because of the fact of, well, it's a good noble summon for the deck to start off your plays in tandem with like GOBLINBERGH or KAGETOKAGE. So next is their boss monster, Reptilianne Voski. Voski is a great monster for this deck. It's honestly like ahead of its time, if I would say so myself. Pretty much with this, you tribute 2 0 attack monsters from anywhere in the field, special summon herself to your side of the field. You can only control 1 of her, and also she can target a face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So it's kind of like a kaiju for yourself. It's amazing. It's non-target, non-destruction removal. And it's just awesome. Usually in tandem with Hydraling, it's just amazing if you have her in hand with her, because if you use Hydraling's second effect to target 2 face-up monsters in the field to make them 0, use Hydraling to like tribute those off to special summon herself. So Hydraling and with this is amazing, and I'm glad it's easier to bring her out now. So obviously you kind of run 2 of her max. 3 is too much, I feel. I think 2 is just a good fit because you can only control 1 of her anyway, and you don't want to open her, like, you don't want to like I guess have too many of her because in your hand, because of the fact that you can only control 1, so she kind of gets cloggy at that point if you have more than 1 of her in your hand. So next for the staple monsters, these next 2 are going to be pretty much like non-archetypal. GOBLINBERGH and then KAGETOKAGE. Both serve the same function. GOBLINBERGH, we all know, it's switches to defense, special level 4 lower monster from your hand. And then KAGETOKAGE is normal summon. When you normal summon a level 4 monster, you special summon himself. So both work in very similar ways. KAGETOKAGE, obviously it's a reptile, so it helps spam the board better, and same thing with GOBLINBERGH. The main reason why I have these in staple territory is because it helps make the deck go faster. This deck is really slow half the time because, you know, almost none of these except for Hydraling have their own special summoning condition, except for Hydraling and Voski. So the fact of the matter, we need to speed it up a bit. So KAGETOKAGE and GOBLINBERGH work well with that, speeding things up, getting more stuff in the field, and just, you know, furthering your plays. So that's why I have them both in staple category, because you're gonna run these just to, you know, speed up the deck, make it go faster, you know, and just, you know, have it keep up with, in a way, to decks nowadays. So, but yeah, that's it for monsters. Now on to spells and traps. Mostly just spells though. So their first spell is going to be Reptilianne Spawn. With this, you banish a Reptilianne monster from your graveyard, special summon 2 Reptilianne tokens to your side of the field. So this is great. They have 0 attack as well, so this is great for Voski, because then if you really need to get Voski out, you can pretty much use this, get the 2 tokens, tribute them both off for Voski, and then just go off from there. You can also use them for synchro material or link material, whatever sees fit, whatever floats your boat from there. So yeah, it's a very flexible card, and I think it's a really good 3-0 for the deck. And then next, obviously, the last staple would have to be Allure Darkness. Allure Darkness, obviously, because this whole deck is dark, you want to, like, except for GOBLINBERGH, obviously, but this whole deck is dark regardless, so free draw power. So free draw power for any deck is great, so Allure Darkness is a good staple draw card for this deck. So so the monster ratio-wise, I would have to say 3 Hydraling, 2 Viper, 3 Naga, 2 to 3 Naga, whatever floats your boat on that. 3 Gardna, 3 Scylla, 2 Voski, and then for the spells, obviously 3 Allure and 3 Spawn. So that's it for staples. Now into techs. Tech-wise, there's a lot of like kind of nice stuff you can throw into this. First one would be Reptilianne Medusa. With her, she can pretty much send a card from your hand to the graveyard, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, make it 0 attack. So it's nice way of making your opponent's monster 0 attack, but it should be summon monster because it's level 6, so it's kind of like too big of a thing, too bloated of a monster to put in the deck because it requires a tribute summon. So that's why I have it in the tech category, because if you want to run it, it's fine, but most often than not, you don't really need it, just because of that fact that it's a tribute summon monster. Next would be Masked Chameleon. Masked Chameleon is another tuner that you can throw in. With this, you could pretty much you can't normal summon or set this when you have a level 5 or higher monster in the field. But if you normal summon this, you pretty much target a monster with 0 defense in your graveyard, special summon it. So there are a couple monsters in this deck that have 0 defense. So you could normal summon this, target one of them, special summon it, and then go into a synchro or go into a link play. So Masked Chameleon is a good level 4 tuner for the deck. Probably as a 1-of mostly though. And next is another kind of super boss monster you could throw in is Evil Dragon Anantha. This is kind of like just like a funny one you can throw in. I like it personally just because of the fact that you can get this guy up to a obscene level of attack and just swing. So he's just there to be a big hunga booga beater, pretty much, just because of the fact that like you banish all your reptiles in your graveyard, special summon him, and he just his attack. I think it's like 500 attack. For every reptile you send or banish. So yeah, he becomes just obscene level attack and just try to OTK with him or just swing over something. So he does have a downside though. He has a mandatory effect. You have to destroy a monster in the field at end phase, I believe, or your end phase, which is kind of a drawback because you have no other monsters in the field. You're kind of have to pop himself because it's a mandatory effect. But honestly, if you're going to be using them, you mostly want to use them use as a closer to end the game right there. Next, tech. So we're done with tech monsters, now into tech spells or traps. So the first tech spell would have to be Reptilianne Poison. With this, if you control a Reptilianne monster, you can pretty much target a defense position monster in the field, change it to face up to defense or attack position, and then make it attack 0, and it can't change its battle position. It's an okay card. It does require you to have a Reptilianne monsters on the field, so it kind of is slow in that rate. But most of the monsters in your deck are going to be Reptilianne anyway, so that doesn't really matter. It's an okay spell. It's kind of like a meh one to me, but if you want to run it, it's completely fine. Then another one would have to be VIPER'S Rebirth. VIPER'S Rebirth is kind of like a Monster Reborn, but you have to have only reptile monsters in your graveyard. So that's why I have in tech category, because most of the time you might not have reptiles in your graveyard. And then the last tech is a trap card, a Ghost of the Grudge. Ghost of a Grudge is a nice trap card for this deck, honestly, because if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, pretty much you flip this, all monsters you control become 0 attack. So you hit this at the right time, your opponent's monster becomes 0 and everything, and then you can just use Voski to tribute off 2 of your opponent's monsters to then special summon her out. So it's a great stun card, and honestly, I feel like it's a really welcome addition to the deck. And yeah, that's it for techs. Now on to engines. Engines, there's not really much, but there is one main engine I want to point out, is the Danger Engine. Now I know the Danger Engine just got hit in the ban list, the good ones anyway, so the consistency of it might not be as great as it once was, but due to the fact that there's like all the good ones are at 2-ofs anyway now, I feel like they are still good in the deck because, again, for board spam, and also just for the fact of, well, they just get, monsters in the field and everything to help like go into links and everything and just get this deck started, I feel. So overall, you don't have to run the Danger Engine, but personally for me, I would run it just because, again, it makes this deck a little bit faster to help it keep up with, decks nowadays, because this deck is slow. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. This deck is slow. So anything that can make it faster is a welcome addition. So, but yeah, so now on to notable extra deck options. The first notable extra deck option would have to be Reptilianne Hydra. Hydra is their personal synchro. It's pretty much with her. She has a mandatory effect: destroy all face-up monsters with 0 attack on the field, and you draw a card for each, which is nice on paper. And yeah, I think it's a really nice. It's obviously a 1 to 2 of obviously in the extra deck because it's your personal synchro. It's made its first effect is easier. Its effects is easier now to pull off because of Hydraling and just some text you can throw in. But yeah, overall, it's not that bad of a card. Next, we're going to be King of the Fairlifts. King of the Fairlifts is going to be another search for you. Pretty much with him, he's a generic rank 4 Xyz, and pretty much you can detach one, search your deck for a reptile monster, put it into your hand. So, searches the whole deck, pretty much, except for GOBLINDBERGH or like any non-archetypal monsters you throw in. So, it's obviously though going to get you like your Bosky, your Hydraling, just anything that you can really get like you need at that time. So, which is nice. And yeah, you can throw in after that. You can just throw in generic synchros for links at that point, and just go on from there. Because this deck, honestly, like those two are like the main ones you need to throw in. So you can just after that, just anything in the extra deck is completely fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now here's a deck list for you all. Pretty much, obviously, this is kind of like a beginner's list for anyone who are getting into Reptilianne. This is unrefined, so obviously if there's anything that you want to throw in, obviously throw it in. You can also, if you're comfortable, take out the dangers if you're more comfortable with that, if that's completely fine as well. So, but yeah, that's it for the video. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. I personally like Reptilianne. Reptilianne's always been a kind of a cool little pet project I've always tried to work with, and try to make it work in some way or shape or form. So yeah, it's a pretty fun deck if anyone has the time to play it. So. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Like I said, what do you guys think of Reptilianne? What do you guys think of the deck in general? What do you guys think maybe in the future it would need to be better? And also, what do you guys think of this deck guide? Did it help you at all? Get a better understanding of the deck, or just help you in a way to help build a deck better? So, but yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like, comment, definitely subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.